The autumn leaves of red and gold. I see your lips, the sunburned kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days roll on, and soon.
Hello friends, it's great to see you all. How have you been? I hope you're all cherishing this holiday season. It's not that often you can spend time with such good company. So, you're here to see my presentation? Well, you're in luck. It's a history on the art of gaslighting. Before we start though, I need to clear the air. I didn't want to drop a quick 200 on a boom mic, and my iPhone is too far away to record non-echoey audio. So here I am, stuck wearing this headset. For reference, here's the iPhone audio. No. I also don't have 1,000 to blow on professional recording equipment, nor a legit recording studio for that matter. I actually jerry-rigged this green screen out of poster boards from Dollar Tree and $25 worth of cloth from Joann Fabrics, which I will be returning at the end of this, because I can't even afford that. No wonder I'm at community college. So apologies for any janky effects, weird cropping, or possibly a see-through cat. I would keep complaining, but the fireplace loop behind me only lasts about 20 seconds, and you probably noticed it by now. Not that great for the immersion. Anyway, I should get going. Hopefully you all stay awake until the end. Putting this together was harder than I thought. Enjoy.
It's from 1 to 92.
Now where did the term gaslight start exactly? I could craft some intelligent lie and tell you aliens gave it to the Egyptians after helping with the pyramids, or Mayans named it after their notoriously untruthful sun god, hence light in gaslight, or that William Gaslight coined the term in 1923 after leading his sister to believe she had a form of very aggressive and terminal pubic lice. Well, as they say, the truth is always easiest to tell. Came from our friend, William Gaslight. The story behind the word is this. His sister had gone for a great night out during the Roaring Twenties to come home and notice odd speckling on her groin. She was understandably worried, as there was now a whole aquarium being set up on her parts. She went to William for guidance, since he was a medical student at the time. As he was her brother, he took full advantage of the situation to try and get a good laugh. He told her just last week he had read an article in a medical journal about a new form of pubic lice that was spreading like wildfire across most major cities. Even deaths had been reported from some of the hosts of the new nasty little louse. Sexual education back then was far from what it is now, and being a young woman in the 20s, she ate up every word. Even went so far as to go see a doctor to ask how long she had left to live. Of course, she was laughed out of the office and came home to William, who told her, "Wait, you actually believed that, didn't you?" What's next? It says gullible on the ceiling? Okay, so back to the origins of the word. It came from a thriller titled Gaslight, 2 words, written by Patrick Hamilton in 1938. Our boy Patrick had just hit a rough patch in his life. 6 years prior, he was hit by a car and dragged through the streets of London City, leaving him partially paralyzed. And just 2 years before the book's release, his mother commits suicide. Glad I'm not that goober. So, the play is set in foggy London during 1880, somewhere around late afternoon, a time that Patrick Hamilton states is before the feeble dawn of gaslight and tea. Gaslight being the gas-powered lights that littered most streets and homes in cities before the electric light was adopted. This thriller is about an upper-middle-class couple, a wife, Bella, and a husband, Jack. Now Jack has a habit of being a shit husband, flirting with the maid, leaving the house and not telling Bella where or when he's going, or when he'll be back. He even tries to convince her that she's imagining the gaslight in the house dimming. A detective named Ruff is introduced to the story later on and helps Bella realize that her husband is responsible for her delusions. Ruff explains to her that the apartment above the house used to be inhabited by a very rich lady who was murdered under mysterious circumstances for her jewels. To no one's surprise, the murderer was never found. I'm sure we can all see where this is going to end, but for the thick-skulled, smooth-brained knuckle-draggers out there watching, I'll spell it out. Jack is actually going to the apartment every night in search for the jewels, and when he turns the gas lighting on upstairs, it dims the lights in the rest of the house. His footsteps in the supposedly empty apartment above drove Bella to believe she was truly going crazy. Ruff eventually convinces Bella to help expose Jack as the murderer, which she agrees to. She helps Jack set up a fake escape, but at the last second, she reminds him that, having gone insane, is not accountable for her actions. That probably could have been a raw line, but I can't seem to find the movie version anywhere legal. I thought she was going to disembowel Jack and turn his skin into a suit after delivering such an oddly veiled threat, but instead, it ends disappointingly with Jack led away in handcuffs. No surprise there, though. All men are trash. You may be wondering how popular was this play exactly. Well, in short, very. There was the original play, then another play in 1941 named 5 Chelsea Lane, which was the American adaptation. Then there was Angel Street on Broadway, which had 1,295 runnings, and was one of the longest-running Broadway plays. It would have been, if not for the very inconvenient and little-known event of Pearl Harbor, which happened 2 days after the release of the Broadway play. Next was a revived version of Angel Street, and also a Filipino Angel Street, but as a movie. Now, there were the Gaslight adaptations. There was Gaslight the play, but not the original, Gaslight the movie but Irish, Gaslight the TV broadcast, Gaslight a radio play for stage, Gaslight is a play in Essex in 2015, Gaslight is a play in Sheffield, England in 2016, Gaslight is a play at Perth Theatre in Scotland in 2019, and a 1944 movie, The Murder in Thornton Square, which was preserved in the United States National Film Registry in 2019. Now that you know the expansive lore of the play, let's get into the word itself. It started in 1965, when writers began using the title gaslight as a verb, which carried the definition we know today. This use of the word, however, was never found in any of the countless adaptations throughout the years. The American Psychological Association used to define the term as once referred to manipulation so extreme as to induce mental illness or to justify commitment of the gaslighted person to a psychiatric institution, but is now used more generally. The term is now just to make someone question their own reality. Gaslighting is, however, only considered a colloquialism by the American Psychological Association. So, all gaslighting can be considered lying, but not all lying is gaslighting. Lying is warping reality, almost a coping mechanism for some, as strange as that sounds. I wish I didn't know myself so well, so I wouldn't realize there are things I can't do, or that I lie to myself and convince myself I can't do. I keep being reminded of how peculiar a human being I am. For once, I want to look at my imperfections and be okay. Accept my mistakes as being honest, rather than a flaw of character or as something deeper. I want to be okay being human. But it's hard to understand people, and for people to understand you. Why? Because we keep lying. Well, at least telling half-truths. Lying creates loops. We only show people what we want them to see. The rest is filled in by their imagination. That image differs from reality, a reality we made for and about ourselves. People are stuck in loops the way they're stuck in their own skin. We're stuck with who we are. I can't not be me, and you can't not be you. Well, how do you stop lying? You have to be honest, starting with yourself. It's harder than you think. Our lies, our desires, our fears, we're trapped in them. You may be afraid of what you find. Perhaps a horrible person? No, just a normal one.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. but I know we'll meet again some sunny